Today I'd like to talk about the irrigation system for the Poplar Grove Green House that the Pender County Master Gardeners maintain. While I'm discussing it, please note that the left-hand side is the left-hand side as you enter into the room, and the right-hand side will be the right-hand side where these irrigation devices are. The water all comes through here, through these filters and this pipe from the Poplar Grove well. It then runs underneath these shelves, goes through there and splits into different areas. The one that feeds the right would be this hose here, and it goes around and then comes up through here on up with a filter through this device. This is the valve that controls the right-hand side of the greenhouse. That is in turn is controlled with this black unit here, which I will go over later. The left-hand side comes up the same pipe, but instead of going, it goes through the filter, but then as you can see, it splits and moves along here to these two control valves, these two green control valves, and they control the sprinkler system, irrigation system down here that runs here and there under alongside the shelf, as well as the irrigation system that is hanging from the ceiling Now, these two on the left are individually controlled by valve A and valve B. They in turn, those valves are in turn controlled by this orbit control panel. Now, I will go into those instructions later on. Okay? We have various types of sprinkler irrigation systems. On the right hand side, we have a system like this that puts water out, spins this around to diffuse the water. Next to it, we have a misting system which puts out a fine mist of water. The one that sprinkles, if you would, has a trough underneath it. This is to prevent the water from dripping from this when the irrigation system shuts off and falling down onto the plants below, making a puddle, a drip, and not very helpful for the plants. This bamboo underneath should carry the water away and allow it to drip harmlessly down here onto the floor. It's obvious that this system does not need one because its drip level is lower than the actual shelf. And this one we have not set one up for yet, so it will drip. The difference between all of these, this type, which is a spray system, this type is the same spray system, but it is upside down from the ones below it on the left hand side, is that they're not really good for small seedlings, sprouts that have just sprouted up. And for that reason, we have installed this misting system, which should be sufficient to mist everything on this right hand side. So you see that the right hand side is for starting plants and the left hand side will be more for plants that have already established themselves. The sprinkler systems additionally are controlled with valves before the water enters the actual system itself. So if you go back along the sprinkler, you will see control valves. This is in the open position. This would be in the closed position so that you could only run the misting system with it being open here, and the other one, the sprinkler system, being closed. And you can do that. You can have them both on. I'm not sure why you would want that, but you could. Or you can have the sprinkler on and the misting off with just a twist. As I said, the left-hand side is controlled by these two green valves, which are in turn wired to this green orbit control system. It is presently set to off. If we wanted to put it to on, we would just simply turn the dial to auto. Turning it to auto means that you have preset timers to come on each valve at various times. For example, if you want to set the clock, which we should probably do now, the clock is 1:07, so we will increase this to the correct time. Way past it. So now we go back. And of course, these should be approximate. They don't have to be exact, but the closer we are to the actual time, the better. We could set the date. It is the year 20. We press this triangle to move to the month. It's June, and June 25th. So that is correct. This is where you set start time. And these are identified by programs A and B. For example, we have start time A for 1 o'clock. That would be, it would start at 1 o'clock for program A. The runtime, program A, is station 1, and you can add how many minutes you want it to, 1 or 2 minutes. How often is, this would be every 3 days. We can change that to every day. You can see below, hopefully, that there is also Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. We have it at intervals, and that would be every other day. You can do odd days, you can do even days, or you can go back to Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Okay? You normally won't have to do this. One person should be controlling this and setting this up. We have it set to off now because we have no plants. Let me show you how to change between the various valves. We turn this to start time, and you notice it has a 1, meaning the first valve, and a program A. You can set it different programs for that valve. If we want to go to the second valve, we will press this, and you'll see a 2 come up. And then we would put the start time in at 5, 6, whatever time you want. And then we put the run time. 2 minutes at station 1, so we have to go to station 2, and then you can increase the minutes you want. And then you would, how often? Interval every day, you can do it every other day, and that would make it every day at that time that we just said. and then you would turn it back to auto. So now it says the next start is program A, and that would do the first one, and then you would have the second one. What you want to make sure you do is that generally you would only want the valves to come on at different times so they're not watering together. Okay, I'm going to turn this back to off, and that is a brief summary of how we control the sprinkler systems over here on the left hand side. You can of course find all the information on doing the controls on orbit.com. You'll notice that this also has a manual start, and it is much like the other. You press it on, the water will start coming out, and it will come out until you come back in and push that button. So you will get wet. Do it on a nice warm day, not a cold day. The right-hand sprinkler system, the two of them can be run independently, as I said, or they can be run together. They come off of this valve, and this valve is run from this battery-operated controller. And it is a dig controller. Now, as you hopefully can see, if I get the light right, that it is off right now. If I press it on, it just says it's off. And then I would use these controls to move from off to I've got it on, and now I could set the time. I'm not going to worry about the time. If you wanted to set the time, go up an hour. We can go to, say it's 1:10. We have to go back to make it PM. The year, could set the year again. I'm not going to worry with that right now. I'll set that up. You don't have to worry about this generally. Okay? We get to get it to PM, which is what we want. 1:10 PM. Hit the middle button here, and that records it. Okay? Then it would be when you want it to start. Every day, you can do it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Again, you won't have to do this. The main thing that you would have to do, generally, is the manual run. When you see that you want to run this manually, you would press this button. What that does is turns it on immediately. Now, you're going to get wet doing this, because if you press it on and run out, you may not get wet, but you have to come back in here to turn it off. It will run until the system is done, until you press that button again. Okay, so that should only be used in emergencies. Let me just turn this back off. This is a battery operated unit, so we like to keep it off when not in use, because then it won't take up the batteries. And you notice that I can pick it off of here and hold it in my hand and do this. You don't have to lean over all the way, and then it goes back up there. This one does not come off, should not come off. It is operated electrically, and by the way, everything in here electrically is GFI, ground fault interrupt, which means that any bit of water that hits, it will stop, it will shut down. Okay? The irrigation system is also set up so that it can be detached by simply unscrewing this, and this entire piece would come off. So in theory, you could move this from here over to this side and vice versa. As you can see, there is the same type of joint up there. Right? You have additional watering capability through a hose and a sprayer. And obviously this works just like all the others. You turn it on, you turn it off. And there is also another faucet over here which you can use to fill a watering can should you have one. That pretty much wraps up the watering system. It's a matter really of what plants you have in here and how much water they need, remembering that you would have to group the plants as to how much water they need. If you tried to put succulents in here, you want to find a dry spot for them. Okay? Irrigation system is new. It used to be this old fan here, which really we don't use much anymore. It's set to a very low temperature. This is a new fan, and the nice thing about this fan is not only is it bigger, but it is also wired to this vent system. By wiring it to this, I will show you in a minute how the fan comes on and how this opens and closes. The fan is controlled by this device here, which is basically a dial that has different temperatures on it, and you can set the temperature that you want the fan to come on by just simply turning the dial. Again, generally you should not have to bother with this. It will be set by the greenhouse administrator to the temperature they want. But should you find it too hot and they tell you to lower the temperature, or too cold and raise the temperature, you should know how to do this. And it's very simple, is to get up there somehow safely and just turn the dial until the fan comes on. That's what I'm going to do now. And I will attempt also to capture the vent coming open when I turn this on. As you can see, the vent came open. If I turn this so the fan goes off, the vent closes. That allows air to come in and out, allows a good circulation of air through the greenhouse. Additionally, we have another fan that is up here, and that is simply for the circulation of air. That it will improve the circulation through here, which helps cut down on mold. In the wintertime, we have heaters on both two corners of the greenhouse. There is one in the upper left-hand corner, and there's one in the bottom right-hand corner. These are both operated with this device. They're plugged into this device, and it's not operative right now. We're not going to go through that. I'm going to just do that at a later date. But we don't need the heat right now for sure. But that would be controlled through this very simple operation to set the temperature, and they come on and off as the temperature comes. Now they're thermostats. If you follow the little wire, this one is hanging right here, and that's what the thermostat looks like. And that we put over on the side. It's just hanging there now. And there's also one for this one that's hanging down, as you can see right there. You don't want to put them next to the window into the sun because that's going to give a false temperature. But again, the greenhouse administrator will set that up for you.